There's one power, invisible, and you see it everywhere and every day. One power, indescribable, and you speak of it with every word you say. Mysterious until you know the truth. As simple as the love inside of you. Call it God, call it Spirit, call it Jesus, call it Lord, call it Buddha, Baha'u'llah, angels' wings or heaven's door. But whatever name you give it, it's all one power, can't you see? It's the power of the love in you and me. One power, one power.
Good morning and welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Midtown-Alanta. You are welcome. Such is the nature of life that all it asks and all it wants is the opportunity to appear. You are that opportunity, and so am I, and so it is. Whoever you are, whatever brought you here today, please know that you are welcomed and celebrated. We know who you are. You're an individual expression of divine life in which we all live. We are life's opportunity to be someone unique and wonderful. Whatever your ethnic background, religious affiliation, however you know yourself or describe yourself, we welcome you here to be a part of this community in whatever way serves you. Now here's our vision statement. We are a strong, open, globally connected community centered on the clarity of principle through teaching, service, and practice. We create a safe and respectful environment that supports healthy spiritual growth. And now for a little bit more about who we are, our Declaration of Principles as written by our founder, Ernest Holmes.
A few of the Declaration of Principles we live by.
I believe in one God, one absolute power, and first cause to all things.
I believe that this power is perfect love, and it creates out of a desire to express love.
I believe all thought is creative, and how I choose to think creates my personal experience.
I believe in the unity of all life, and the immortality of the individual soul forever unfolding.
I believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the eternal givingness of God to all.
And so it is.
So grateful, hey.
So a practitioner is someone who's demonstrated the ability to use spiritual practice and spiritual laws to bring about great changes in their lives, and they've demonstrated that they know how to bring about spiritual changes in others when asked. Licensed by Centers for Spiritual Living, they're available to you to provide spiritual guidance and support in those areas where you're looking for assistance. You can contact them through our website, cslmidtown.org, and we've got a wonderful practitioner with us this morning, Becky Fox. She's an artist, graphic designer, facilitator, and teacher, spiritual coach that specializes in empowering others to create a life that is fulfilling and meaningful. Becky is a licensed practitioner emeritus with the Centers for Spiritual Living, trained in assisting others and to make changes in their life by making changes in their way of thinking. Within a one-on-one session or in a class, Becky provides a safe and comfortable space where each person is encouraged to step through their fears, move into the life that they've always dreamed of having. He also uses her creative and artistic background in classes that uses arts to heal and transform lives. Welcome, Becky.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's always a pleasure to be here, and I'm always honored to be a guest practitioner here. And so as we prepare this morning for this opening prayer, I just invite everybody to turn within to that place of openness, gratitude, and receptivity of all the good, all of God's greatness that is happening right now. And so just take in a deep breath, just as a reminder that this is God's breath breathing itself through, as, and for each one of us. I know that there is one life, one divine presence and power, one infinite love, and that love is expressing itself through me right now. And I'm also knowing that the same life and love is expressing itself clearly through, as, and for everybody here. In the space of oneness, I am realizing for each of us the release of distractions and worries, the release of the stories of me and mine, and resting in the truth of we. One presence, one peace, one unfolding. And so as this prayer is spoken, it is spoken within every heart. As peace is affirmed, it awakens in every mind. As love is known here, it moves through this community, blessing the whole. Within each of us is the wisdom and power that is greater than any single perspective. Clarity is allowed to rise up, healings occur, and inspiration flows easily, not just for one, but for all. And so, in gratitude for this oneness and love in this community, I release these words into the law of love, knowing that it is already completed and it is done. And so it is.
I've never understood how you turned out so good with all that you've had to endure. No one expected you to make the best of you. The deck stacked against you, for sure. The more that I learn, the more I admire how you never got burned being forged in the fire. 'Cause an ordinary mortal would have quit by now. With a life like a field full of mines, you're human, I know, made of muscle and bone. But you must have steel in your spine. You never talk about when you first figured out that you'd have to go it alone. It breaks my heart to picture you, a child hiding out of you, so young to fight on my own. But still here you stand, and still here you are, igniting the world with your luminous heart. Yeah, an ordinary mortal would have quit by now. With a life like a field full of mines, you're human, I know, made of muscle and bone. But you must have steel in your spine, and that would explain how you never admit any pain. So let me just say that child has a lot to be proud of, but no longer needs to keep the world at bay. If you were mortal, you'd have quit by now. You've been counted out so many times. You're human like me. You can bruise, you can bleed, but you must have steel in your spine. Yeah, a mortal would have quit by now, but your light was determined to shine. There's so much more than they see, a superhero to me. You must have steel in your spine. You must have steel in your spine. Oh, 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 oh.
It's my pleasure to introduce our speaker this morning, Reverend Dr. Ron Fox. He's been a motivational speaker and workshop facilitator for over 25 years. He's had a long, successful career as a human resources executive, working for such companies as General Foods, GlaxoSmithKline, Unum, and Mattel Toys. Ron also operated a very successful search firm in Southern California. Ron is also an ordained minister with the Centers for Spiritual Living. He's a gifted speaker and published author. His inspirational style, coupled with a keen sense of humor, makes him a favorite with audiences everywhere he's spoken. In 2018, the Centers for Spiritual Living honored him by designating him a Doctor of Divinity. And in 2019, he was awarded the Meritorious Minister Award for his outstanding service. He and Becky live in Port St. John, Florida, and we welcome him to speak this morning. Welcome, Reverend Dr. Ron.
Thank you. I always love coming here and seeing you guys and speaking. So I want to speak today on living a conscious life. And I want to begin with two quotes. The first one is by a lady named Victoria Morin. And she wrote, "Know this, if you ever made magic, you can make it now. If you've once changed the circumstances of your life, you can change them a second time. If you were ever on top of the world, you can be there again. You just don't get one shot or a single opportunity. All you need is the attitude and the tools." And the second quote that I want to speak to today is just one of my favorite quotes by one of my favorite spiritual people, Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel. And he wrote, "In the eyes of the world, I am average, but in my own heart, I am of great moment. The issue I face, the challenge I face, is how to actualize, how to concretize the quiet eminence of my own being." I just love that quote. And I think what he's trying to tell us, he's speaking about himself, but it's probably true for most of us. He's saying, look, people see me as just an ordinary guy, but I know deep inside that I am more than that, that I have a gift to give. And the challenge that I face in my life is how to bring that forth and share it with the world. You know, there's nobody else like you or like me. We're unique, but it's up to us to develop and to nurture our uniqueness. And we give our gifts when We follow what our path is, not what somebody else thinks our path should be. And no one else can give the gifts that we have. And if we don't give them, they're lost to the world. And I know somebody listening to this is going to say, what gifts do I have? And some of us have bigger gifts than others. We're not all going to be president. We're not all going to be, hitting 60 home runs in a season or being in the Super Bowl. But the truth is, the world needs great plumbers and great electricians and great coaches and great teachers and great parents. A few years ago, I was sitting somewhere in an office, and there was a woman with a bunch of kids, and we started to talk. And I said to her, how many children do you have? And she said 9. I wanted to have 10, but my husband said we need to stop. And I said, that's a lot. And she said, I know my role in life is to be a great mother and raise great citizens. That is what I'm talking about, a gift to the world. Ernest Holmes said that if our life isn't going the way that we want it to, we can't blame anybody else. We need to take our own life in our own hands. So what does that mean, to take our own life in our own hands? To me, it means no more shaming, no more blaming, no more victimhood. It means being willing to learn from any situation. It means asking myself, how can I grow from this situation? It means being willing to step into my power. Before Becky was introduced as a practitioner, and I always tease and say there are great advantages and great disadvantages to being married to a practitioner. Let me tell you what the disadvantage is. I don't get to wallow. I miss wallowing. I come home and I'm upset about a situation, and Becky will listen to me, and then she'll say, so what do you have to learn from this situation? Or if I come home and I'm moaning about somebody that done me wrong, she'll listen for a while, and then she'll say to me, hey, tell me, how is this person your teacher? That's what I'm talking about taking your life into your own hands. So I want to read something to you that I found on the internet. Remember that responsibility is not a burden placed upon us. It's a sacred invitation. It is the awareness that we are not victims of life, but participants in it. Not powerless, but powerful beyond measure. When we accept responsibility for our thoughts, our choices, and our responses, we step into alignment with the divine intelligence that lives and moves within us. I used to tell all my congregants, we are spiritual powerhouses. If we're willing to do the work, we can be, do, or have almost anything in our life. Let me just read one more paragraph. To be responsible is to respond from the highest knowing. It is to choose love over fear, wisdom over habit, faith over doubt. Each moment offers us a chance to begin again, to take ownership of our inner world, knowing that as we shift within, the outer world must follow. So I want to share with you a story from Dr. Rachel Remen. And she said at some point she was having a recurring dream. And the dream was that a daffodil bulb was planted in the ground, but a heavy rock was lying on it so it couldn't bloom. And she didn't know what this dream meant. So she went to a friend of hers who was a counselor, and the friend said, maybe the bulb and the daffodil are having a conversation, the bulb and the rock are having a conversation. Why don't you listen in? And so Rachel went home, and I guess she meditated on it. And this is the conversation she heard. The rock was saying to the daffodil, it's a dangerous world out there. Don't bloom. I'll protect you. And the daffodil was saying, but I must bloom. Blooming is my whole purpose for being alive. And the message is, don't let anybody stop you from blooming, from living the life that you're called to live. Only you can bloom the way you're supposed to bloom. Let me give you two examples. Rabbi Zusha is lying on his deathbed, and he's surrounded by his students, and he begins to cry. And one of his students says, Rabbi, are you afraid of dying? And he says, no. And the student says, are you afraid they're going to ask you why you weren't more like Moses? And he says, no, I'm afraid they're going to ask me, why weren't you like Zusha? Why didn't you live the life that you were given, the life you were supposed to live? Let me read something, or tell you something from the poet Apollinaire. He said, come to the edge, but we're afraid. Come to the edge, but we might fall. Come to the edge. And so they came, and he pushed them, and they flew. I think what he's trying to tell us is that sometimes it's risky and it's scary to plow new fields, to move beyond our comfort zone. But very often when we do, we find out we're more powerful and stronger than we ever believed. And we're like that because God is always, always with us. You know, we become what we think we are. And if we don't do that, that means that we're allowing other people's labels to define us. You know, Holmes said that an hour a day of meditating won't save you from the confusion of the world, but 51% of your thinking will. So a few years ago, Becky and I took a course from IONS, the Institute of Noetic Science, and the course was on conscious aging. And we actually had the ability to teach this class, which we haven't done, but keep threatening to do. And someday we will. And one of the articles that we were asked to read was titled, Who Do You Want to Be When You Grow Old? And the authors say that very often older people start to have regrets. They think, is this all I'll ever be? Where did the time go by? Wasn't I meant to be someone? And the authors say, look, the issue is that when we were young, we were living a different kind of life. We kind of put questions of purpose and meaning aside because most of us were busy earning a living and raising a family. But now that that's part of our life is complete, the question, who am I, becomes central to our life. You know, and the truth is that our roles as parent, as spouse, as neighbor, as friend, as teacher, I don't have to tell you, they are really important roles. But they aren't our purpose. Purpose is a mindset. to grow continually, to make a difference. Purpose is who we bring to what we do. Purpose is who we bring to what we do. So the authors of that article talk about living a default life. And what is living a default life? It's not being true to yourself. It's not being authentic. And they say, how do you end it? How do you end the default life? It's really simple, or it sounds simple anyway. Be yourself. Don't be dependent on other people's approval. Dennis Merritt Jones is a CSL minister. Maybe a lot of you have heard him speak or read his books. He's a prolific author. And he said, we each hold the key to what sets us free. It's choice. We make many choices all day. And he said, so instead of saying, I can't, say at this time, I choose not to. The difference between I can't and I choose not to is the difference between stepping into our power and being a victim. So I want to tell you a fable. And the fable is about Sir Gawain, who's a knight of the Round Table, and Ragnell, who's a hideous, ugly hag. And Sir Gawain agrees to marry her because the king is dying, and she's the only one that has the potion that can save the king. So they get married, and on their wedding day, they go up to the wedding chamber, and she excuses herself to get into something more comfortable. And out comes this beautiful, gorgeous woman. And Sir Gawain says, where's my wife? And she says, it is me, but I've had a curse put on me, and you have a decision to make. And here's the decision. Do you want me to look beautiful at night for your pleasure and ugly in the daytime where people will pity you? Or do you want me to look beautiful in the daytime and ugly at night where you'll get no pleasure? And his response is, you decide. It's not for me to choose. I want you to be the way you want. It's your choice. He gives her back her power. He doesn't decide her life for her. In effect, he says, it's your choice, not mine. And when he says that, the spell, the curse is broken, and she's beautiful all the time. In effect, what Sir Gawain did was make her responsible for her own life. So what could you do to begin letting go of a default life? Let's talk about 4 or 5 things. One is you could begin to ask questions. You know, when I've given you some, who am I? What is my purpose? What is my meaning for being here? You can make your own questions up. A second thing we can do is realize that sometimes it's going to be uncomfortable, but we can know that it's okay to be uncomfortable because God is with us. And when God is with us, we're powerful. We can know that others are going to react, and all we can do is bless them, send them on their path, and we stay on ours. Let me give you an example from my own life. When I decided to go into my own business, literally every one of my business friends said to me, you're going to fail. You're going to fail. And not only that, nobody's going to hire you when you go looking for a job because they're going to say, well, he stepped out of corporate life once. He probably didn't like it. Why should I hire him? The only one that kept saying to me, if it's your dream, go for it, was Becky, my wife. Well, I did go for it, and I was really successful. And I would have these same friends come to my office, or we'd go out to lunch, and they would say, oh, do I admire you? Do I admire you? And I realized what they admired was, for whatever reason, I was willing to overcome my fear and live the life I wanted, and they weren't. Something else we could do is we could start by taking small steps. Every little success breeds more success and more success. And lastly, we can remember we're doing exactly what we came here to do. You are the creator of your own existence. We need to let go of the masks and be the real us. And remember, life isn't a Halloween party. So let me close by reading this that I also found on the internet. Let us walk from this moment with open eyes, open hearts, and open minds, choosing to live consciously, lovingly, and with intention. Every breath is an invitation to awaken. Every thought, an opportunity to create. And every act, a chance to bless the world. As we live in this awareness, we discover that life is not happening to us, but through us, as us. And in that discovery, we become the light that illumines the path for others. And together, we create a world awake, alive, and overflowing with possibility. God bless you. Have a wonderful week. We will see you in a few moments.
Over on Zoom. Yes. Thank you, Reverend Dr. Ron Fox. Thank you so much. An awesome talk this morning. Lots to think about there. All right. So now let's say with me, and you can download this on our website, cslmidtown.org, our New Minister Sacred Covenant Easy Prayer. There is only one life. This life is God. This life is good. This life is my life now. And knowing that I am one with this life that is God, I therefore know that I am one with all of its blessed expressions, which includes the presence of a new minister from my beloved spiritual community. Because I know that the highest purpose of my new minister is to express spirit, I therefore know that my new minister is a revelation of spirit as principle. I further know that my new minister is the fulfillment of that which has been promised by God. For it is written, principle is not bound by precedent. It operates according to law and is always available to those who are willing to align themselves with it. As I stand in agreement with my beloved spiritual community, I see my new minister before me as inspiring spiritual oneness through wisdom, love, and authenticity. I now intend to experience my new minister in full cooperation and agreement with my community, knowing this truth about myself. For I am inspired to live as love in the expression of principle. I am awakening the wisdom within me by clearly communicating the principles of universal truth. I am a conduit of divine love, wisdom, and healing energy, recognizing the inherent wholeness within all beings. I'm offering teachings, classes, and mystical studies grounded in spiritual principles to cultivate inner wisdom, personal transformation, and empowered living. I am extending the love, compassion, and transformative power of spirit into the wider community, fostering connections that heal, uplift, and support individuals in their unique journeys. As I now accept the highest expression of a new minister into my life, I know that they will be revealed in a way that will express spirit and serve the highest and greatest good of all who are touched by their presence. I am grateful. God is gracious. And so it is. And now it's time for our conscious giving. You can go to our website, cslmidtown.org/donate, or you can scan the QR code that'll come up on the screen. This is our affirmation of prosperity, and we are glad for each one of you who comes either in person on Sundays, online, sees us on Facebook or YouTube. I would say share this prosperity with others on your social media as well and invite them to come. Here's our affirmation. I live in a universe of abundance. As I freely and joyfully give, I join in the divine flow, and all that I share with life returns to me multiplied abundantly. So it is. So we had a few announcements. I want to thank Reverend Becky for being not Reverend Becky. It's like Becky Fox being our practitioner. And our theme this month, Embracing the Edge. Next week, we have Reverend Dr. Mignon Pallard, and her talk is Standing on the Edge of the Known. Kind of like Ron's thing today. Stand right on the edge and jump. We have an adult study group that's going through the Science of Mind textbook every Sunday at 10 a.m. You don't have to have read to come and have a discussion with that group. Right, that's a very thick book, and they're working through it from front to back, and it's a good time. You can download the New Minister Sacred Covenant Easy Prayer. And I want to remind everybody, March 1st is our in-person annual meeting. So if you're in town, please join us. We will also put it on the Zoom so we can be interactive with those of you who are out of town or away from Atlanta to participate in that meeting. So put that on your calendar. Be sure to show up. Our affirmation of life is coming up. Here we go. I leave this place now knowing something better than I knew before. I go forth into the world with a heart full of love and a mind full of good sense. I look at the world in a greater way, knowing that I have within me everything I need to create the life I desire. I give thanks for this understanding, and I am grateful for the spirit of life that lives through me. And so it is. Thanks, everybody. Have an awesome week, and come over to the Zoom channel and have a discussion with Reverend Dr. Ron and Becky. Have a great week.
I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for all that I have. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for all that I have. Hey! Oh yeah. Grateful. I just say I am so grateful every day for all I have. Every day. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for all I have. Every day I say it. Grateful. How I'm grateful. Every day. Oh yeah. I am so grateful. Oh yeah. I'm so grateful. 'Cause I accept and I receive. I am so grateful. Oh yes, I am. I am so grateful. Hey, grateful. I just count my blessings. Grateful. I just count my blessings.
There is a power for good in the universe greater than you are, and you can use it.